The first thing you're going to need is a computer. You will need reliable computer. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, highest grade computer. This is Core i5, or it was Core i5. I recently upgraded it to Core i7. It's Intel because of the compatibility. You want it compatible with your stuff. I recommend computer with as many cores as possible, with fast and as much of RAM as possible. And if you can install a SSD drive because you want the files to load fast. You press a button and you want to hear a sound, and this is how it's supposed to work. Another thing you will need is audio interface. From the beginning you will probably get something cheap like this unit. This is Komplete Audio 6. You can get it even cheaper if you buy a Komplete Audio 2. I also recently won an auction where I got this Presonus StudioLive 16 rack mixer, which is really good audio interface, and what amazes me, it has zero latency. It's really powerful. It has audio on every channel as a separate channel. It's not just directing all the channels into one audio, so you have as many inputs in your mixer as in your audio interface built into the mixer. It's really expensive mixer, so you probably as a beginner will start with something like Komplete Audio 6 or another cheap audio interface. When it comes to audio interfaces that are cheap like this Komplete Audio 6, it comes with latency when you are recording. Of course you can fix this with your input and host, but direct monitoring is just something that don't work with the effects. So you might want to get yourself a DI box. I have a Behringer Ultra DI model DI100. It's very cheap, very affordable, and it's doing great job. What this box does is converting your unbalanced audio into a balanced audio, and also it sends the same signal to your amplifier or your FX pedals at the same time. You will also need a headset, because when you are recording, sometimes you cannot play the sound through your monitors, because if you have some microphones turned on in the studio, it will just get into the microphone and make terrible noise or echo effects, and you don't want that. So you want to be as quiet as possible, and you want headset. This is not the expensive headset I use. It's a gaming headset, but it's doing good job. It have good sound. You will also need a pair of good monitors, and I chose this company, which is Behringer. The model is Xtouch B2031A. They are pretty powerful, and what's special about them, every one of them comes out with its own individual certificate of calibration. They have really flat frequency response, and what I don't find on other monitors that is special with these monitors, when you don't play any sound, when there's no signal coming to them, they automatically shut off, and this is very useful because you don't have to turn on and off your monitors all the time. They just do it for you. You don't want to be turning on and off your monitors 20 times a day. These ones have automatic turn off button. They just turn off when there's no signal coming through them. You will need some sort of digital audio workstation, also called DAW. I am using Studio One Artist. This is not a full version, it's artist version, but there are many free DAWs. One of them is Reaper, which is really powerful. Another fully featured free audio interface is Cakewalk by BandLab. There are many types of audio interfaces. Studio One is pretty much all-rounder. Some are more focused on electronic music. Others are more on live performance, and other DAWs are focusing on recording instruments and vocals. You should choose the best one that suits you best. All audio interfaces are great, and there is no bad or good. There's just different way of working with them. For controlling and recording sounds in your DAW, you may want to invest in some form of a keyboard or a controller. I am using a Presonus Atom. It's a drum pad. It can play keyboard, but it's mostly a pad. It's a DAW controller. It have transport buttons, it have navigation buttons, song setup, event editor and instrument setup in different modes. I also have Behringer Xtouch Mini. This controller I don't use so much, but it have a slider which makes it much easier, because with the slider it is more precise when you have to dial something. Then you get more control than if you are just scrolling a knob. I also have another controller. It makes it easier, even easier than when using Presonus Atom, because playing keyboard on Presonus Atom is pretty hard. I have a FISHMAN pickup, FISHMAN TriplePlay, and this is a guitar pickup that works as a keyboard on your guitar, and also a controller. It's working with any type of instrument, even drums. You can play synth, you can play piano, you can play drums, symphony, whatever. It is great. The thing is, it's a great company that makes pickups, but they are not so good at developing software, so you can find it hard to get their software sometimes to work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but don't worry, you will have plenty of plugins and plenty of software available, and the pickup is just working great as a controller. For vocals, you will need a good microphone, and this can be very expensive. That's why I suggest you check this microphone out. This is the t.bone SC1100, and it is really high quality microphone with very good sound at a very cheap price. I tried to compare it to some of the highest grade microphones, and this microphone performs just as good or sometimes even better than microphones that cost thousands of dollars. I also have two instrument microphones. MB75 Beta, it's a copy of the SM57 Beta, and I have MB75, which is the copy of SM57. Both microphones sound really great. You can even sing with them and perform really well. They are brighter than the original. I actually like them more than the original microphones, because I find out that I'm capturing many more frequencies of sound. You will need one microphone, always ready to record, in a stand with a cable attached to your audio interface. When you get an idea, a new song or a melody, you just take a microphone and you sing it in. You don't take an instrument and try to learn it. You just sing the melody in and it's saved. Here is something I regret, because I cheaped out on this one. This is a microphone stand, and you don't want to cheap out on one like this, because you don't want to your microphone to fall down and break. Actually, this is very unstable and it can tip over at any time, so I will soon have to buy something better. This microphone is really heavy and the mic stand is barely carrying that weight. You will need storage device for your backups. And I suggest you do not cheap out on this, because you want your data, your software, your sounds, your songs to be safely stored. And that's why buy always the best possible hard drives. Do not cheap out on them, and one hard drive is not enough. Get as many as possible, because hard drive can break. You do not want to buy an SSD drive for backup. They are not good for backing up. Buy hard drives instead. SSD drives are good for working, but they are not good for backing up your data. I have at least 12 hard drives, and my data is pretty safe right now. You will need some good quality cables for recording, because you don't want any noisy cables. You want as clean sound as possible, and you want to save your cables for as long as possible, because you will quickly find out that the cables are actually just as expensive as the hardware, because you need more than one cable, and if they break, you will find yourself buying new and new all the time. That's why I have a solution. If you want to practice, you can buy these cheap wireless systems from eBay and use them for practice. They are about the same price as the low quality cable, and they work great for practice, but do not use them for recording, and don't use them on live gigs and on the stage, because they are just not built for that. These devices, they tend to get interference from electronics in your house and mobile phones. If you want to go wireless on the stage, you should invest in a more expensive wireless system, and these systems can get really pricey. Books are great for learning, so do not skip on this. Buy theory books and learn from them. It is much easier to have a page in front of your face than watch learning video on YouTube, because when you have it on paper, it is much easier to focus. And some people will tell you that, well, they know already everything about music and they don't need any theory books. Well, that's a lie. Music is huge, and these people, they just think they are great while they could learn a lot more. This book is great for guitarists, and it's teaching all kinds of scales in all modes. So this means you can, like, if you want to learn a Dorian scale in C, well, you can learn just one pattern and just use that, but you won't get many possibilities. This book teaches you how to play the same scale in all modes, which means you can play it on entire fretboard. One thing that I don't have in my studio is a power conditioner. This is very useful to save life of the equipment, because all kind of electric interference from the house equipment, this is just breaking our hardware, and we don't want to do that. We want to preserve our hardware as long as possible. So when I find a good, reliable power conditioner, I will for sure buy it, and this will be the next thing I'm investing in. I have these two guitar amplifiers. They are not something I recommend you buying. Why I have them? It's because they have effects loop on the back. These amps are really sounding bad, and you do not want to practice or record on these amps. Unless you have good effects you can plug into the back of the amp, and this will get you good sound. They absolutely sound horrible. If you want an amp for practice, get a good one. I have a PA. This is not something you need in your studio. This is more for live performance. I use this only one time for making live concert and for a couple of parties, and that's all. You don't need this. I also have a subwoofer, and this is something that is useful in a studio. You may want one, but you don't need one. If you have good monitors, you don't need a subwoofer, but it is still nice to have it, to have a nice big bass. It is always good to have a couple of mixers, and especially one small portable mixer. I have this little Mackie Mix8. It can fit in a bag and I can move it around. Another mixer I use is StudioLive 16, and this is really expensive mixer, so I use it only for serious projects like recording music. Most of the time it's turned off, but I need something to hook up my audio sources to my monitors. That's why I have my third mixer, which is Behringer Eurorack mixer. It's cheap and affordable, and it have 16 channels just like StudioLive, and it's just amazing. If you are a guitarist like me, you probably are looking for good pedal board with good effects. And there is one problem: they are all expensive. Well, almost all. I have this GT100. It's your Axe FX on a budget. It can really do a lot of stuff, and you will love it. It have audio interface. It can even play MIDI, which surprised me. And it can reamp your guitar, so you can use it to record, but I don't like to record it. I don't like to use it as an audio interface. It's not the cleanest sound, in my opinion, on an audio interface. I better like it using it on a mixer. Another pedal board I have is Boss ME8. This is a true grandfather of all pedal boards. It was really popular in the 90s, and it has some amazing effects. What's special about it is that it's very easy to dial your sound. You can spend hours finding the perfect sound when you're using Axe FX or GT100. These boards are really time-taking. ME8 is really fast. You just press a couple of buttons and you have the sound you want. Another thing that is really special about it is this ring modulator. It gives you sick dive bombs, and there is no other pedal board that I tried that can replicate this. Another effect on this is humanizer. If you combine it with pitch shift and distortion, you get the most creepy sound. You can literally make your guitar scream, die, 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 die. I never seen any other effect board do the same stuff. I have 3 pedals that I think are essential for every guitarist. One of them is Ibanez Tube Screamer. I have TS9. I also have Boss Super Overdrive SD1, which is also a great sounding unit. And I have a gate from legendary Glenn Fricker. I have his legendary Cockblocker pedal. You cannot get Cockblocker anywhere because it's sold out, but you can get Tube Screamer and Super Overdrive. When I'm practicing and I don't want to use my DAW or computer, I have this Digitech Band Trio Plus pedal. It's a band creator and looper in one pedal. What is amazing in it, it has some sort of artificial intelligence. You can teach it a pattern and it will automatically create bass player and a drummer for you, and it will generate many different genres of music like blues, R&B, rock, alternative rock, metal, pop, electronic pop, hip hop, country, folk, Latin and jazz. And on top of that, it will create 12 different styles, and within these styles you can also dial in alternative time and switch bass modes to more simple bass. If you think the bass player is playing too wild, you can just turn him down. Also, it have a sequencer built in, so you can create entire songs It have built in a couple of guitar effects, but it also have FX loop, so you can use it with your pedal boards. It have output for an amplifier, your guitar amplifier, and as well as a mixer, so you can have different effects on your drums, bass and your guitar. You can also hook up another switch pedal, three-way switch, and that will give you even more control of the pedal. Everything can be saved into SD card, because it have SD card slot, and it actually comes with a small SD card, if I'm not wrong. I strongly recommend this for guitarists who don't have a band but would like to have a feel of this, and would like to jam alone in one-man band. This is one-man band in a pedal, and it's really cool. I also have a Harley Benton bass, and there's on a bass, I'm not like some kind of crazy bass player, you know, I'm a guitar player, but it's nice to have a good bass, and Harley Benton makes great instruments. If you want a $1,000 bass or a guitar, but you have only $100 to spend on it, buy Harley Benton. This is really professional stuff, and it's cheap. Here is something I was working on last night, and I made this recording. Enjoy! If you like this type of content, then please leave a comment, leave a like, thumb up, and subscribe to my channel, and remember to hit that bell button so you don't miss any future content. See you. Thank you for watching.